In today's video, we will dive into the best language learning strategies for intermediate level learners. Let's go. So the way how you should be approaching language learning depends a lot on your actual current level. And in this video, we'll dive more specifically into the world of intermediate learners. And we'll see what are the best strategies that you should be using right now to improve your language skills. As an intermediate learner, your goal is to actually start using the language. Hence, to start actually putting into practice all this knowledge that you have been acquiring in your beginner levels in Speakly. So we can basically distinguish three main elements that are important for you as an intermediate learner that you should try to integrate into your daily learning activities. These three things are, number one, learning fewer words per day. Yes, you heard me right. It was fewer words per day. Number two, immersing yourself into the language even more. And number three, getting to know the grammar of the language already a little bit. What we see based on research is that for usual learners, the equivalent of learning a language is actually acquiring new words that they don't know yet. That seems to be equaled in people's minds with actually learning a language. But what research actually shows is that we are using the statistically most relevant words in our daily conversations. So, for example, if you go through your days and you use your mother tongue, then actually you're using about 4,000, 5,000 statistically most relevant words of a given language. Therefore, we can also say that, okay, I should know these 4,000 or 5,000 words as well in the foreign language to have the same skills in this language as well as I have in my mother tongue. But people usually have this wrong belief system that if I just keep adding in random words into my knowledge, then this will build up my language skills. And, if you have seen my other videos, then you know that this is just not true. Many of the words that we are usually learning are not useful for us at all. In the description below, I also linked a blog post where I'm discussing why you should be avoiding language learning books and why the traditional methods are actually teaching you words and sentences that you never use. If you have gone through the beginner levels in Speakly, for example, then at the moment you have learned 900 words. That's the whole beginner level in Speakly. And after that, the intermediate level starts. If we look at research, then we see that about 900 words actually makes up around 60% of all real-life situations that you might find yourself in. Therefore, you can see that that's most of the real-life conversations that I will have. Therefore, I already have a strong foundation for the language, and it doesn't make sense to add random words into your knowledge base. That said, if you are using Speakly, and I hope you are, then Speakly teaches you the statistically most relevant words and sentences. Therefore, you can be sure that if you are learning words every single day, then these are curated words that you actually need. But even still, I still recommend you to take learning words much easier and to learn around 5, maximum 10 new words every single day, not more. I would even say that 5 is optimal so that you would have time for other learning elements as well. To summarize this first topic, you as an intermediate learner might have an urge to always find new words that you don't know yet, but in reality we see that you actually just need to start using the knowledge that you already have. So instead of going more complex all the time, we just need to go back to the basics and start using all this knowledge. If you've seen my other videos and podcasts with other polyglots, then you know that daily listening is the one single thing that all successful polyglots recommend us to do, even if you don't understand a word of the foreign language. That is even more so true with Speakly, because our listening exercises actually are composed of the statistically most relevant words and sentences of the language. Therefore, you can be sure that if you listen to a single exercise, then it's actually using words and sentences that you can use and apply in your real-life conversations as well. Now, daily listening, especially listening to the special Speakly listening exercises, is even more so important for intermediate learners, because you already have the foundations of the language in place. You already have at least 900 learned words if you are an intermediate in Speakly. Therefore, it's so crucial to start activating all these skills via daily listening. So this might be surprising for you, but as I said already in the beginning of this video, intermediate learners usually have most of the words already in their knowledge that they need to use in real-life conversations, but they are not confident enough to find words and put them together into sentences. And that's exactly where the daily listening comes in. But how is daily listening connected to actively speaking the language, you might ask? And it's a legitimate question. It might seem that listening has nothing to do with speaking at all, but actually research shows that there is an immensely direct link between listening to a language and actually speaking it. Based on research, in general, what I can tell you is that if you do your daily listening for at least 10 to 15 minutes per day, it will start activating your speaking skills, because it will start programming you towards success. In the description box below, I also linked a blog post where I discuss this topic in more detail. So go check this blog post about daily listening out, and you will find out more. So to summarize this second topic, daily listening, for you as an intermediate level learner, daily listening actually is the most important study element, and you should do it every single day. Now, the best strategy for listening to daily Speakly listening exercises is to choose one single exercise and listen to this single exercise 5 to 7 days in a row. I know it sounds that, you might get bored of the exercise or something like that, but actually it's such a useful process if you listen to a single exercise every single day for 5 to 7 days in a row, because you will program yourself to understand more and more of the exercise, and you will feel good about the process. So give it a try. It's very, very important that you would listen to a single exercise repeatedly. Once per day is fine, but just 5 to 7 days in a row. So you've arrived so far into this video that I just wanted to say thank you, and to leave you with this little applause and this gift to cheer you up. So before we continue, just let's take a moment for the cheers. As you're now on the intermediate level, it's a good time also to start getting friendly with the grammar of the language. As you know, I'm a big advocate of not diving into the grammar of the language at all in the beginner level. It's just something that demotivates learners usually, and you won't be able to build up a strong grammar system in your head anyways if you don't have the foundations of a language, and if you don't have anything to attach this system to, which is the foundation of a language, like 900 most common words that Speakly teaches you. But even still, many people like to have this grammar support from the beginning of their studies, and in Speakly, as you can see on the screen here, you can do exactly that. You can check out the grammar, conjugations, negations, how to form questions, everything else like that, very simply by clicking the grammar icon, and you can check it out in that way. So it's all in the application if you need it. But now in the intermediate level, especially, it's a good time to start building up the grammar system. But it doesn't mean that you automatically need everything. That's what usually happens in the school system, that before building up the foundation of a language, we would be given a large pile of grammar conjugation tables. We won't know what to do with this knowledge at all, and it will be frightening, and we will lose motivation and stuff like that. Therefore, if you go through your studies with Speakly as an intermediate level learner and you see a verb, for example, as you see here on the screen at the moment, then what I advise you to do is tap on the grammar button to see the conjugations tables. You can see the little element tables here as well. After that, you can check out the tenses of this verb. You can see that all the statistically most relevant times or tenses are given here in the Speakly conjugation table. But instead of learning all of them, I would just encourage you to learn maybe one tense to be sure how the present tense works, or how the past tense works, or how the future tense works, so that you wouldn't overwhelm your memory and you wouldn't be kind of discouraged by the whole grammar. And that's what I usually do. I go through the main tenses, which is present, past, and future, and I just make sure that I know how to use these, because these are the main things that are used in daily conversations. So to summarize this third topic about grammar, for you as an intermediate learner, grammar is becoming more and more relevant now because you already have the foundations of language in place. But please don't pick up a random grammar book. They are composed in a way that is not supportive to us. They are not science-based in the way of how they are engaging people and how they are giving results. You know that based on your own language learning experiences at school. So just avoid all grammar books because they will be overwhelming, and just use the Speakly grammar section to move forward in the language step by step and start building up your grammar knowledge in such a way. Plus, you always have the opportunity to go to the general grammar section in Speakly from the menu, as you can see here on the screen at the moment, and check out all the relevant topics that you might need to actually speak and understand the language. We have made this selection for you of what topics you actually need to know and what you don't need to know. So you don't need to worry about it. Just enjoy and discover all that you can find in Speakly. As an intermediate level learner, it's the time to really start using the language and start enjoying it, because you already have the foundations in place. You can understand basic texts and you can already express something in the foreign language. So really enjoy the process, start putting together sentences, and enjoy the fact that all the words and sentences that you have been learning with Speakly are something that you can actually use in your real life conversations. Until the next time.